Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk about the new Phanteks Eclipse P200A, and right here we have the performance version. You have also the RGB version as well, which consists of tempered glass side panel, but comparing it to performance one, you have an opening here for a vertical position of the GPU to get more air inside. Now, this case is based on the ITX motherboard, and even though it's quite small, it doesn't compete with the size when it comes to DAN case and all the other cases, just because it's slightly under 30 liters of capacity. So we have loads of possibilities here because they managed to do quite an interesting case inside this size. Even though it's an ITX motherboard, we have quite interesting stuff. So removing the side panels are quite easy. You have just with the fine meshed side for the intake of the GPU. Now this is quite easy to remove, clean, and everything else. The same thing you have on front with the ultra fine mesh, keeping a nice airflow inside the case, but also giving you a possibility to avoid dust filters, since you can place a radiator next to your motherboard and you have a fine mesh, ultra fine mesh at the backside for airflow of the radiator. Now, the one dust filter that you actually have is going through the bottom, through the whole bottom basically, for the GPU if it's horizontally placed. As you can see, I placed my GPU right here vertically, but unfortunately riser cable isn't supported with Gen 4, so this is just for the looks. If you go with the Gen 3 GPU and PCI Express slot, then it can run properly without any issues. But this is the configuration I went with in my time-lapse video. And here is the thing: on front you can place two 120 or two 140 millimeter fans, and radiators 240 or 280. If you go with the side radiator, which is only 240, then I would suggest, and basically the only solution is without the front radiator. That means you have a nice 240 radiator here for your CPU, or you can place it on front. Now, when we're talking about GPU clearance inside this case and placing the vertical position of the GPU, as you can see, you have quite loads of space right here. And check this out, this is all the space you have on front towards 120 or 140 millimeter of standard size fans. Also, you could go with really large graphic card, and with the 240 here on the side you can mount your GPU horizontally as well, and plus giving you loads of space here, and that's it. So the bracket is fully modular at the back. You can adjust it as you wish depending on what kind of position of the GPU you want. If you go horizontally, you have space if the thickness of the card doesn't block it. You have space for placing two more fans at the bottom and giving you some nice intake and air additionally to help the temperatures for your GPU. Now, if you decide to go horizontally with your GPU, you could place a 120 millimeter fan right here at the back, but this is the only thing that you lose when you place your graphic card vertically. Now, since we're talking about sizes and measures, quite interesting thing: on top you can place a standard ATX power supply, and you can place a tower cooler up to 165 millimeters, which is outstanding. But of course you'll have to place your GPU horizontally. Now, when it comes to cable management, the performance version as well as the RGB version have basically almost everything the same. But here is the thing: with the DRGB version you get the controller pre-installed, and this kind of helps you with cable management when it comes to addressable RGB fans. Now, when it comes to storage, you have these two brackets that go instead of the AIO. So basically, if you decide to place your AIO on the front, you have two brackets for your 2.5 inch SSDs. And now when we go at the back, you can clearly see that I even managed to place custom sleeved extenders to the original power supply cables, and loads of space right here at the top to rearrange everything. Cool thing, you have one Velcro tie and the other one right here, right in the crucial position to manage your cables properly. You have some sort of it's a tie, but it's a metal one with a thumb screw, and this really locks in place all the cables going in this vertical position. And this helps you a lot when you're placing the side panel here, so you can get a nice closure when you're placing the panel back on. So all in all, I would say quite cool. Here you have two additional possibilities to place 2.5-inch SSDs, and of course if you're going with mini ITX motherboard, because you can't go with any other, you can place one M.2 SSD if the motherboard supports at the back of the motherboard and one at the front. So basically a smaller case which supports loads of storage. Now also there are possibilities to place 4 3.5-inch hard drive if you remove the AIO on the side and add additional brackets. So these are optional and you need to buy them separately. You get two SK fans, black ones, which as you can see I place them on front to get a proper intake. On front IO panel you have two USB 3.0, microphone and headphone jack, reset button, and on top you have a power button. So this one doesn't have a DRGB button and the mode button to adjust the lights inside the case, since we're talking about the performance version. GPU maximum length is 355 millimeters, and the thickness is 3 slots or 65 millimeters. PSU length is up to 205, but Phanteks recommends 190 millimeters, most likely for better cable rerouting through the holes at the back. So with the package you get the Eclipse P200A case, of course, two 2.5-inch SSD brackets, one SSD brackets, two are for 2.5-inch SSD, two SK120 PWM fans in black version, 6 zip ties, one vertical GPU mount, and accessory bag with necessary screws and standoffs, plus 5-year limited warranty. Now it's time for thermals. Since I already stated at the beginning that with the PCI Express riser, which is Gen 3, you can't place Gen 4 graphic card and it doesn't work properly, I had to test it in horizontal position. So basically graphic card was taking an intake from the bottom and pushing the air through the GPU. Speaking of that position, the AIO was cooling the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X, and this is 6800 XT. So actually a really nice powerhouse inside a smaller case. With the temperatures on the CPU going up to 70-71 at full load, AIDA 64 Extreme Edition, and basically GPU in a horizontal position going up to 77-78. So it is a bit cooking, but I would really love to see. Unfortunately, I don't have a Gen 3 graphic card, but it would be really cool to test out the vertical position and does it help with the side mesh part and everything else. Of course, there are also possibilities with placing an AIO on front of the case, making complete airflow going through the case, and an outtake at the back if the GPU is in horizontal position. That way you get the lower temperatures on the CPU, and kind of does make a nice airflow. But all in all, with design which is always perfect from Phanteks, a modular vertical mount and horizontal mount as well for your GPU, two possibilities for placing the AIO for your processor, still good enough with my mini ITX, and this is something really cool, and I think you will really love this case. So guys, I'm placing the links for the P200A at the bottom so you can check out the prices for the performance and for the DRGB one. So that's all there is to it. If you like the video, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe, and of course leave a comment with your thoughts on the case. Hope to see you in another one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.